Okay, here's a couple notes from our session today. So we'll start with our address. When you're really having a struggle trying to find your way in the middle of a round, you can't find that way to shallow the club. One of the ways we talked about today is to weaken that left hand. You're going to find with a weaker left hand, it's going to be easier, or it's going to be less prone to want to tilt the club as much upwards or keep the club over the line. Whereas if you've got a neutral grip, it's going to be easier to get into that, for lack of a better term, motorcycle position on the way down to allow that club to shallow itself out. I hope that makes sense. I think we covered enough of that today where that should make sense. But let's look at a video from one of our swings. This was kind of midway through the round, or midway through the session today, so we didn't quite have it, but it was still a pretty good one. So as we take the club back, that's a nice position there. You can see the shaft is slightly outside your hand line. Excellent. And from there we get quite vertical, which is great. So we'll stop when we get your left arm parallel to the ground. We'll draw our line here. Pretty steep line there. And as we get up to the top of the swing, here's where we got to work on our transition. Make sure we keep it nice and slow. Allow your body to do the things that we need it to do. And then on the way back down, actually let's stop right there. Look at your left hand. That's a nice flat left wrist. Good job. And here's what we talked about. We want to feel like that elbow is tucking back into your body while we're laying the club off a little bit. So we go from a steep position. Let's go back a bit. We go from a pretty steep position here, and we want to get a little shallower. So we do a good job of at least staying on the same or parallel to the plane that we took it up, but we still love to see that club. Let's get rid of that. We still have to see that club shallow out a little bit more that way. You can see that left wrist is getting a little bit cupped there. If we can get a little bit more neutral at address, if you can see it there, that left wrist is a little bit cupped. So the elbow is tucking back in, but at the same time that the elbow is tucking in, we want to see that shaft lay off a little bit. One of the other big thoughts we had today is on the way back down, we want to work on driving that weight forward while keeping that back foot on the ground. So instead of jumping into your right toe, which is going to really promote some early turn, but stall you out halfway through, this move is going to force that lower body to be generating tons of power. So we can see at impact there how much we've rotated. But the nice thing is we've rotated while we've still kept the torso moving. If you go back to the still photo at the top of this review that I sent you, you'll see at impact, you may look like you've got more turn when that right foot's come off the ground, but you'll see that your upper body is over-rotated and it's almost done turning. So that's going to leave you susceptible to that over-the-top move, the hard pulls to the left, or that glancing blow, which is going to force those longer irons in particular out to the right because you're not able to have the power go from ground up. So you're not getting the pull from your hips transferring into the torso, then transferring into the hands. The hips and the upper body are going to go at the same time when the right foot comes off the ground, leaving nothing but your hands to try and save the swing. I know that was a lot, and I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, please fire away.